This is Shannon Orrand with Team George Weeks Real Estate, and today we're going to talk through the 10 steps to closing. So there's a process to buying a home, and I like to explain that to my clients so that you are educated and you understand what's coming. So we're going to talk through that today, and just buckle up and get ready for a whole lot of information coming your way. Okay, the first thing we're going to talk about is the pre-approval process. The very first step to buying your home is to get pre-approved with a good local lender. So I always tell my people, you want someone that you have their cell phone number and you know where their office is and you could walk into their office if you needed to. It's also important that your lender works 7 days a week. They're able to be contacted 7 days a week, because as your realtor, I'm working 7 days a week. I need somebody else on the other side that's working just as hard. So you're going to find, I can recommend good local lenders for you, or you can use someone that you already know, that you are going to reach out to them, fill out an application, get pre-approved with them. They're going to tell you how much buying power that you have and what that monthly payment looks like to see where you're comfortable. Because you could be pre-approved for $1 million, but you don't like what that payment looks like every month. And so we just need to get those numbers settled before we start looking for your new home. Number 2, choosing a realtor. So you want to choose a realtor that you know, like, and trust. You want to choose a realtor that has a lot of experience and that your personalities work well together. Now, I've been doing this since 2012. I help 30 to 40 families a year buy and sell real estate. I know what I'm doing. I'm also surrounded by a team of people who have a lot of experience. So if something did come up and I don't have the answer to it, I'm going to be able to go find it for you. And I'm always going to be honest with you about what's going on in your real estate transaction, about the home that you're looking at, those type of things. So you want someone that you can trust. Once you choose a realtor, you will be asked to sign an exclusive buyer representation agreement. And you're going to get a copy of that along with this video so that you can read through it. But that is basically a loyalty agreement between us. It says that I'm your agent and you're my client, and it explains what that includes. You're going to get a higher level of service when you enter into that agreement with a realtor. You go from being just a customer that receives basic service to a client who receives top-of-the-line service. This agreement also outlines how we get paid, and we are in a commission structure, so we get paid when there's a closing. Most of the time, that's paid by the seller, but not always. And we will talk in depth about that more when we are sitting together in person, and I'll explain how that works. Okay, now we're going to get to more of the fun part, which is finding your home. Now, if you and I were sitting down at a table together right now, I would say lay it on me. Tell me about everything that you hope to find in your new home. I want to hear all of your must-haves. I want to hear about your deal breakers. I want to know about the budget you want to stick to. I want to know about the areas that you are open to living in. And I want to hear what all questions that you have. What I'm going to need you to do is email that to me, or call me, or let's set up a Zoom meeting, whatever we can do, because I need to hear as much about this as possible. Once I have all that information, I'm going to create a search for you that pulls straight from the MLS system. Now, you may be using a third-party site to search for homes right now for fun. I think everybody is doing that, whether they're actually looking to buy or not. But I'm going to set up a search for you that pulls directly from the MLS, and that's where those third-party sites get their information from. But sometimes it doesn't update or reflect any changes that have happened. So you're going to get it straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So I'm going to send that to you once you send me all the information that I just outlined for you. You're going to get that in your inbox. The first email is going to have every home that matches that criteria that you've already given me. And then each day in the morning, you'll get a new email with any new homes that are available or any homes on the market that have had a major price change. So you will receive those every day, if there are any. And then when you look through those and you say, hey, I want to see that house at 123 Banana Street, you're going to text me. And you're going to say, Shannon, I want to see that house tomorrow at 6 p.m. or whenever. And I'm going to set up an appointment for us. I'm going to meet you at the house and we're going to tour that home. So I just need a little bit of notice to be able to set up that appointment, and then I'll make it happen. part. We've been looking at homes. We've seen some homes that you thought were going to be great, and then we walked through the front door and you hated it. And then we're going to see some other homes that you thought might be okay, and you're going to walk in and love it. So when it's time, when we find the one, you are going to want to make an offer on that home, right? I'm going to also attach to this email a copy of the purchase and sale agreement. This is the document that will be sent over to the seller presenting your offer to them. It's going to have all the information in it. So when we've already gone out to see 10 or 15 homes and you found the one and you're excited, you're not probably going to want to sit and read through page after page of all the fine print on this document. So that's why I'm giving you a copy of that today, so that you can read through it and see if you have any questions or concerns, and I can explain those to you ahead of time. So we're going to send that offer over to the seller. They can accept it, they can counter us, or they can reject your offer. I'm going to pull comps for the neighborhood if it's in a neighborhood, or if not, I'll pull comps from where I can to make sure that the price they're asking makes sense. And we're going to talk through that and come to a good, sensible offer price, one that makes sense. And there's so many things that go into that. The condition of the home, how long has it been on the market, what kind of market are we in? If we're in that white hot seller's market like we had a couple years ago, there's not a whole lot of negotiating that goes on during those times. But if we're in more of a buyer's market, or if that home's been on the market for a while, or it has some issues, then we can negotiate more with that seller. And we will talk through that on a case-by-case basis. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about earnest money. This is number 5 on your sheet here. So earnest money is part of the offer on the house that you found. And we're telling the seller, hey, I'm going to put up this much money to show you that I have some money and I'm interested in purchasing this home. I'm serious about purchasing this home. And so typically we say 1% of the offer price is a good number to go off of. If you need to offer less than 1%, we'll talk through that. It's usually not a big deal. Minimum amount of earnest money we see usually is about $1,000. If you're offering more, if there's multiple offers on the home, the more you put down, the stronger you look as a buyer. That earnest money can typically be paid online directly to the title company, and they will hold that money in an account while we're working through all the contingencies of your offer. Now at the end, when we've gotten through everything, we've gone through the inspections, the appraisal, and your loan processing, everything's good, we're going to closing, that earnest money amount is going to be a credit to you at closing. It'll be taking off the amount that you needed to bring for your down payment and your closing cost. Next, we're going to talk about inspections. So that's number 6 on your list. That timeline is going to be set up in the offer that we present to the seller. Typically, that's a 10-day inspection period. I have a home inspector or two that I trust, that I've worked with for years, but you can choose any home inspector that you want to choose. It's important that they are licensed and insured, and of course that they've been doing this for a while. Hiring your uncle or your cousin to go over there and do it probably isn't going to hold as much weight, or it's not going to hold as much weight when we go back to that seller and ask them to fix things. We need a professional, licensed home inspector that will give us a report that's easy to understand, that has pictures and those types of things, so that the seller can understand what we're asking them to do. Home inspections typically cost around $400 to $450, just to give you an idea, and that will be due on the day of the inspection instead of at closing, like some things, because the home inspection might make an end of that contract, right? We might find things that we're not okay with and you're going to walk, and that's okay. If that happens, we terminate the contract, you walk away, you get your earnest money back. Now, if you do like the house and you're good with the home inspection, we can ask them to make some repairs, or you can accept the home as it is. Those are your options on the home inspection. There will also be a termite inspection usually, and if the home inspector finds things that are above the scope of his practice, we may have to call in some specialists. Let's say he thinks something's wrong with the electrical or plumbing or the roof or the HVAC. We will have to call in those people to inspect those things if there is a suspected problem. And then we submit that at the end of the, or during that inspection period after we've had all of our inspections, and we work through that. It's basically a renegotiation period, and then hopefully come to a good conclusion where everyone's happy, and then move forward from there. Okay, next on the list, number 7, is your mortgage. So there's a lot going on from start to finish of buying a home, obviously. But along the way, while we're doing what we're doing, your mortgage, your lender is going to be working on your mortgage, getting that process. So they're going to be asking you for documents. You're going to have to fill things out. And it's just important that you do that as quickly as possible as they're gathering information. They're going to be verifying your employment, verifying your tax records, those types of things. And they also review, the appraisal, which we're going to talk about next, and make sure all of that makes sense and that there's nothing else needed for the home. So it's just important during the underwriting process that you are cooperating, that you are paying close attention to your emails and your phone calls, communicating quickly and promptly with the mortgage lender. Okay, so we're on number 8, the appraisal. I love appraisers. The appraiser is going to be sent to the home basically by your lender. They're going to order that appraisal. You are going to get to pay for it. It's typically around $600, give or take, depending on your lender. So they're going to order that appraisal. The appraiser will go to the home. They'll have the contract. They go in, they look at the home. They make sure there's no safety issues, and they pull comps from the neighborhood. Much like I will do for you when we're writing that offer to make sure it makes sense. They're going to look for comps, at least 3 comps in that neighborhood that have closed in the past 6 months. If they don't find that, then they can go outside of the neighborhood. So it's important to remember that when we're looking at homes, a home in the neighborhood that you fell in love with can be worth $400,000, and there could be a neighborhood down the street, that's a much newer neighborhood, let's say, and bigger, and the appraiser will not use comps from that neighborhood to compare your home price to. So they're going to look in the same neighborhood if at all possible, and then if they can't find those comps, they're going to go to a neighborhood that's similar to the neighborhood you're purchasing in, with the same size and the same age of home. And they're going to tell us what the value is of that home. And let's say the contract price is for $400,000, and they come back and tell us that it's worth $380,000, then we have a $20,000 problem. And so what happens in that situation is I go back to that listing agent and ask for the seller to reduce the price to appraised value. It's very important for you to know that they don't have to. They do not have to lower that price to the appraised value. They can choose to put it back on the market and try again. And so I have a lot of stories about this that I can go into more detail when we talk in person, but it's important for you to know that going in. That's why it's important for your realtor to pull comps and look at comps when you're preparing an offer, that it makes sense and that you at least know what you're walking into if there is a possibility of an appraisal problem down the road. Okay, we are almost finished, and you're doing great watching this video, getting educated on the buying process. The next thing we're going to talk about is number 9, and that's the title company. If at all possible, I like to use the title company that we have in-house, which is Trinity Title, and they're fabulous. I've known them for years, and they do such a good job for my clients. But you can choose another title company if you have a preference, or if you are choosing new construction, it's always better to use their title company because just the way it's all set up and the nature of new construction and getting your keys at closing. It would be delayed if we didn't use their title company. And we can talk more about that in person if that's something that you're thinking about doing. The title company is going to be making sure that there are no outstanding liens on the home that you are trying to purchase. So if something wasn't paid by that seller along the way while they've owned the home, there could be a lien against that home somewhere that has to be paid. So the title company will make sure that's taken care of. They will also secure your title insurance, which protects you after the fact for things that the title company are unable to discover, such as forgery or wills that haven't been handled properly, things like that. I have a long list, and that will be in the documents that I send to you of examples of that. So title insurance is paid one time at closing. It's not like car insurance that you have to pay every month. It's just one time at closing, and that covers you for the life of the loan. And that's pretty much it about title insurance. Okay, we have talked through 9 steps, and we've got this narrowed down to 10 steps to closing. And your final step with closing is going to be for us to do our final walkthrough. So we're going to go to the home 1 or 2 days before closing, depending on the situation, and we're going to walk through that home and make sure it's in the same or better condition as when you put a contract on it or when the repairs were finished. We're going to make sure those repairs were done. We won't do that just by the walkthrough. We also request receipts and reports and whatever is needed from whoever did the work on the home. But we want to walk through the home right before closing, make sure it's still there, right? Make sure that hadn't burned down or there's not a flood or anything major. Make sure that things that are supposed to remain with the home are still there, like a refrigerator, for instance, that they didn't move that out when they took all their other things. And then we're going to get the keys and we're going to close and take a happy picture, and you're going to move into your new home. So that's it in a nutshell. Of course, there's so many more things that can come up along the way, but that's just a roundabout example of buying a home in 10 steps. So I would love to talk with you more in person if you have specific questions, and I also look forward to getting an email back from you with all of your wish list, your must-haves, your deal breakers on the home that you hope to find so that I can set up a search for you. I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks for watching.